Ty Segall, Harmonizer, album review. Let's chat about it. Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning. Here to chat about this latest from Mr. Ty Segall. Now, Ty, if you don't know, is an absolute king and legend of underground garage rock and psych, and the guy is essentially the workhorse of those genres. No, I mean it. If you have not caught up on his stuff and you want to get into him and don't know where to start, trust me, you have a lot of homework to do. Not only is he constantly putting out material, he's constantly putting out different kinds of material. He won me over with albums like Melted and Slaughterhouse and Hair, but more recently has seemingly gone to the next phase of his career with his highly ambitious and wild and flamboyant and glamorous Freedom's Goblin album. He also did his project, the CIA, early last year, but outside of that, it's been quiet for about a year or so now from Ty. Oddly quiet, which is why when he just showed up on the scene with this Harmonizer album out of nowhere, I was pretty excited to hear it. And not only that, you never know when you're going to hear from Ty, but you're never really going to know what he's going to sound like either. And this new one is pretty out there. And the album's intro, Learning, really quickly ushers in the sounds of this album. It's very synth heavy, it is super bulky, it kind of sounds like the evil twin brother of his Emotional Mugger album. But I love how big and bold these synths are. And those harmonies, when they come in, they are pretty tremendous. And I also just love Ty's performance here. It's just weird and sinister and just odd. This is a real fantastic intro. I have a lot of the same things to say about Whisper. I love the sluggish pace and the bulky riff here. Just how freaking heavy everything is well. This track is massive. And I feel like Ty's vocals are just the right mix of super campy and over the top, but also really catchy and infectious. This to me is just gravy. It's all gravy. And yes, I really have to drive home the fact that it does sound like some evil, weird, relative Emotional Mugger. But man, it really is, especially on tracks like Whisper, because this track is it's freaking out there, man. But Ty also sounds like he's kind of having a lot of fun right now. Erased, on the other hand, is even more alien, more weird, and just so freaking heavy once again. Like, the riff and the atmosphere on this track is suffocating. All around, this is just a freakish affair, and even lyrically, this is just so Ty Segall. Also, why am I genuinely getting some Gary Newman vibes to this, especially in the heavy synth work we get here? Not only that, but the sci-fi based lyrics here don't help that either. But it's harmonious and joyous in Ty's own way, and it really sticks with you. And Pictures is one of my favorite tracks here. Like, you genuinely don't know where you're going to hear Ty. But I love how streamlined, but yet really sweaty this riff is. In a weird way, it reminds me of a lot of the bulkier and heavier tracks on his last self-titled album. Also, these cryptic lyrics, they're just so freaking out there. They're a nice touch. All in all, there are some weak points on this album. There's some times where I feel like this could have stayed in the deep fryer a little bit more, but honestly, on Pictures, everything comes together and it just sounds so glorious. I also really love the final bluesy moments that we get here. Like I said though, I feel like there's some parts of this album that seem a little open-ended. I feel like Ty could have let this marinate a little bit more. Like Harmonizer, for example, the title track. This one actually lessened on me. I do like a lot of this album. I like how bulky it is, like I've said, and I do like a lot of the more synth-heavy vibes to it as well, and just how freaky and odd this is. But this is the one track here that just sounds a little too stiff for my liking. I mean, like, in his early days, Ty, what brought me to his music was just how wild and sweaty and just non-stop it was. But this track just feels so stiff. Ride has lessened on me too. I mean, I do actually really like Ty's very sinister, very twisted vocal performance here. That's actually pretty damn good. Once again, this track is very stiff, and if you are an old school Ty fan, you might not be into this at all. I think the bass ideas on this track are halfway interesting, but everything else here is lacking, and that instrumental is pretty flat. And I think Play is the worst track here. I don't know, this track is more awkward than anything. Like, this sounds like a track from the early recordings of Freedom's Goblin that he would have gone and cleaned up and actually made into something This sounds like that, but he never cleaned it up. It's just sloppy, and it's instrumentally the most annoying track here. And changing contours as the finale is a little bit of a letdown too. I mean, it's fine, it's okay, but personally for me, it's a little too stripped down for my liking. It's very bare bones. I do still think this is a serviceable Segall album. I think it's fine. Waxman is a great deep cut. There's practically some stoner metal vibes to this track. I mean, come to think of it, that's one of the only routes that he hasn't gone down yet, and I'm pretty shocked to hear that. I'd love to hear more of that, honestly. It's so bulky, it's thick, it's hazy, I love all that. And Feel Good, featuring his wife, Danae Segall. Honestly, it's one of my favorite tracks here. This sounds like one of their CIA tracks, just, shined up a bit, polished up a bit. I love Danae's vocals here. She's so commanding. It's got a kinky side to it as well. This is great. This is a serviceable album from Ty at the end of the day. It's fine. If you're really craving an album from him right now, this is just, it's fine. I think a lot of this album has some really great ideas. Love the synth work here. Love the suffocating atmosphere to a lot of this album. There's a lot of really great, weirdo, out there ideas. I just feel like they could have marinated a little bit more. He could have, come to the dance a little bit more. Really focus on the big album just a little bit more. The ideas are here, but I think the sound just, I don't know, it's not quite there yet from Ty. But, knowing him, 6 months from now, he'll be on a completely different sound and we'll never hear this ever again. For now, though, feeling a very light 7 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.